Hello everyone. It's great to see you again in today's video. Tu Tien was diligently cleaning the kitchen. She carefully cleaned every corner and every position of the small kitchen, from the refrigerator, gas stove, dining table, all were cleaned by Tu Tien. Thanks to Tu Tien's hands, the kitchen became tidy, bright, bringing a cozy and vibrant feeling. Tu Tien's diligence and hard work showed that she was a woman who always knew how to take care of her family. After cleaning everything, Tu Tien sat down at the table to rest. While sitting, Tu Tien was thinking about what she would do next. Then she saw the ripe bananas on the table, and Tu Tien immediately thought that she would make cakes from these ripe bananas. In the cozy kitchen, Tu Tien carefully prepared the ingredients to make banana cake. She took out a package of flour from the cupboard. Each of her movements was meticulous and skillful, from cutting the flour package, pouring it into a bowl, until adding water and stirring to create a smooth dough mixture. Then she put the dough she had just stirred aside. On the dining table, the ripe yellow bananas were ready. Tu Tien skillfully peeled each delicious ripe yellow banana and placed it on a plate. After separating enough bananas, Tu Tien continued to cut the bananas into two halves with gloved hands. She placed each banana slice in a plastic bag, flattened it with a knife to prepare for the frying stage. All of Tu Tien's actions were skillful. When the oil was hot, Tu Tien dropped each banana slice she had just pressed into the bowl of batter she had just prepared to dip the banana slices in the batter. Then put each piece into the pan. She flipped each piece evenly so that the batter was golden and crispy, and the attractive, rich aroma spread throughout the kitchen. Meanwhile, Jack was at work at the company, carefully looking through each set of files of the people he had just interviewed to select the best people to work for his company. Once he had selected the right people for the positions, Jack brought those files out and gave them to his staff so that she could contact the people they recruited to tell them they could start working tomorrow. While they were talking, the accountant showed Jack the company's salary table for him to review and approve. Although Jack's company had just been established, all the ways of working from the director to the employees were very quick and professional, which showed the quality of the company, always solving problems quickly and always putting quality first. After talking with his staff, Jack went into the office to get the documents and went out to do some work. At home, Tu Tien had fried some delicious, crispy banana cakes. She neatly arranged them in a basket to drain the oil. Tu Tien went to her room to change clothes, then returned to the kitchen and neatly arranged the cakes in a woven bamboo basket. Tu Tien wanted to bring these delicious cakes to Jack's company and bring some to the farm for the workers. Tu Tien had left some at home. She covered the cake plate with a lid and carried the cake basket to Jack's company. Tu Tien was about to leave when Jack's mother came home and asked her where she was going. Tu Tien put the basket of cakes on the table and told Jack's mother that she had just made some banana cakes and wanted to bring them to the company for Jack to try. When she knew Tu Tien was going to Jack's company, she wanted to go with her. She said she would take Tu Tien to the company. She wanted to visit what her son's company was like. Then the two of them stood up to go to the company. Jack went to a construction materials supplier to find a material supplier for his company. The owner of this company is also a friend that Jack used to cooperate with. Jack trusts the quality of the materials of this company, so he came here today. Jack's friend today is also the one who directly welcomed Jack. The two of them sat and talked, reminiscing about the old days when they worked together, and Jack hoped that this time, the two of them could cooperate with each other for a long time. After talking for a while, Jack's friend invited him to visit the factory. Jack entered the premises of the construction materials supplier with a confident and polite appearance. Before his eyes was a large factory, filled with steel coils, metal pipes, and modern industrial machinery. The smell of new steel, the sound of the operating line, and the serious working atmosphere created a vibrant picture of the construction industry. Jack carefully went to see each large roll of iron. They discussed enthusiastically about product quality and delivery progress, demonstrating professionalism and goodwill to cooperate. After checking the actual situation and agreeing on the terms, the two returned to the office. Jack said he was very satisfied with the quality of the materials and wanted to sign a long-term cooperation contract. Immediately, Jack's friend gave him the contract for Jack to read. After reviewing all the terms of the contract, Jack took out a pen and signed the contract, a clear sign that this was the first step for a promising cooperation. On their lips, there were satisfied smiles, smiles of trust and promises for a sustainable cooperation relationship. The two happily shook hands and Jack said goodbye to his friend to leave. Jack's mother and Tu Tien went to the company but were informed by his staff that Jack had gone out. She took out her phone from her pocket to call her son, and Jack also told her that he had to go out for something. Tu Tien took out the banana cakes and put them on a plate. She invited the staff and Jack's mother to try the cakes she made. The four of them enjoyed the delicious banana cakes that Tu Tien made herself. While eating, they praised the deliciousness and praised Tu Tien for her skillful hand. They ate and talked happily with each other. After talking for a while, Jack's mother said that now the two of them would have to go to the farm. Before leaving, Tu Tien left some banana cakes for the two employees to eat and some to bring to the farm for the workers. Then the two of them stood up and left. When Tu Tien left, the two employees looked at her and both praised Tu Tien for being very skillful. Not only did she cook well, but she also looked very pretty. On the way to the farm, the two stopped at a fruit shop on the side of the road to buy fruit for the workers. While the two were choosing fruit, a woman looked at them from afar. It was Tu Tien's cruel mother-in-law, who had always mistreated her. She also looked and recognized Tu Tien walking with her old classmate, Jack's mother. When the two passed by on their motorbike, she looked at them and then went to the fruit shop where Tu Tien had just bought fruit to ask. When the owner of the fruit shop confirmed that it was Tu Tien and that her daughter-in-law was currently living with Jack's family, the owner also showed her the way to the house under construction of Jack and Tu Tien. Tu Tien's mother-in-law could not have imagined that the daughter-in-law she had mistreated and bullied in the past would now have such a prosperous life. Tu Tien and Jack's mother went to the farm, carrying bags of fruit they had just bought. They watched the workers working diligently. Then they found an empty space to sit. The two of them arranged the fruit on banana leaves. Tu Tien carefully cut the melon into pieces. Then she gently called the workers to stop and sit down to eat melon. When the workers sat down, she took the melon and gave it to each person, inviting them to eat. In the middle of the unfinished construction with piles of bricks and stones scattered around and a golden excavator standing out on the ground, they sat together under the shade of trees on the edge of the forest, amidst the lush green natural scenery of the mountains and hills. Everyone chatted happily, their eyes shining with joy after hours of hard work. Mixed with the cheerful laughter were discussions about the progress of the project. Everyone hoped to complete it soon so it could be put into use. While everyone was sitting and chatting happily, in the distance, Tu Tien's mother-in-law also came here following the instructions of the fruit seller. She quietly stood in the bushes, watching Tu Tien and everyone. When she knew exactly which house Tu Tien was building, she quietly went back to find her son who was plotting something bad. At this time, Tu Tien and everyone else were still unaware of the appearance of their cousin, who was still talking happily. Tu Tien's father-in-law came over, holding a bottle of water in his hand. He said he had just come back to get some water to drink. Tu Tien invited him to sit down and take a break, and she gave him a piece of melon to eat. She introduced Jack's mother to him, who had helped him and agreed to let him stay on the farm. Mother-in-law Tu Tien went out to the street and met Jack, who was also going there. Jack immediately recognized her and called her to stop and asked if she was here to find her husband. She said she didn't know where her husband was. If her husband was in Jack's farm, she would go back and tell her son to come and get him. Jack immediately spoke up to blame her for being ungrateful, causing her husband to have no home and had to wander around the street. If Jack hadn't helped him find a place to stay, he wouldn't know where he was now. She loudly pointed at Jack's face and told Jack not to interfere in her family's affairs. Then she turned and left. Jack called her back. He wanted to ask about Tu Tien's parents' whereabouts. Jack knew that Tu Tien had been married to her family for several years, so he thought that only she would know information about Tu Tien's parents. Jack hoped that if she knew any information about Tu Tien's parents, she would let him know, because he wanted to find Tu Tien's parents' family. Immediately, that evil mother-in-law said she didn't know anything and then she left. Jack could only watch. After leaving for a while, she stopped to think about why Jack wanted to find Tu Tien's parents. Then she thought about going back to talk to her son, then taking this opportunity to ask Jack for money in exchange for the information he wanted. Her expression clearly showed her cruelty, scheming, and cunningness, planning to do bad things. Inside, Jack's mother was sitting and talking to her father-in-law, Tu Tien. She asked him if he was familiar with this place. If he lacked anything here, he could tell her so she could ask Jack to buy it and bring it in. He immediately thanked her for letting him stay on the farm and now helping him have a stable job. Later, Jack came over. He knew that his mother and Tu Tien would go to the farm after finishing work at the company. When he finished, he went back here. When everyone saw Jack, they called him to sit down and rest. Tu Tien came over and sat next to Jack. His mother gave him a banana cake to eat. She bragged to Jack that Tu Tien made it herself and it was very delicious. Jack took the cake and ate it deliciously. While eating, Jack praised Tu Tien for her skillful hands. Jack suddenly asked everyone if Tu Tien's mother-in-law Tui had just come here. Everyone was confused and didn't understand why Jack suddenly asked that. Jack said that he had just met Tu Tien's mother-in-law on the street right at the entrance to the construction site. Hearing that, everyone was surprised. Tu Tien's father-in-law asked why she knew to come here. The atmosphere suddenly became quiet. Tu Tien's face showed obvious worry and fear when Jack mentioned her mother-in-law coming here. Tu Tien remembered the times when her mother-in-law always mistreated her. She was scolded and chased away by her, so she was always haunted. Tu Tien was afraid that when that evil mother-in-law knew she was here, she and her son would think of something bad to harm her again. In her fear and worry, Tu Tien stood up and walked towards Jack. She walked over and held his hand because in her most fearful moment, only Jack was her support and comfort.